We moved into our retirement home about 3 years ago. The wife got her rehab done on the rest of the house, and now is my turn to update the garage and make it a little more habitable as stuff just started creeping into car space. The pile of crap just kept growing and growing and growing, and we put in a Gladiator system. We also did the floor, as you may notice, an epoxy-based urethane system, and that's been very nice. If you have any questions regarding that, please feel free to ask in the comments below. But we put in the Gladiator system, and it's a system of wall rails and tracks, wall tracks and walls. So after thinking things out, we decided on some walls we would put the tracks, as you can see here, since there's a car door that opens close to them, and this should keep things out of the way of the car door. But in other areas we put the wall system, which allowed us to hang things. I'm sure you're familiar with hooks and whatnot in your garages. These are all movable and interchangeable with other hooks, but two things that weren't in there, and we'll show you those in just a moment. On the front wall, we did a wall section over here, and I wanted some cabinets. So those we used the individual rails for, and they support the cabinets, and the small section we did another wall unit. Okay, we can only extend that far because there's a section of staircase that comes down from up above so we can get into the attic. Now, in doing this, I discovered I already had the Gladiator golf caddy, so we ended up removing that from the wall and hanging it on the rails, which gave me a nice little golf section. I was able to hang the walking carts, which we hardly use anymore. But one of the problems I had was I had a small golf ball collection, and I wanted to mount that, and something they don't offer are blanks, so that you can take something, mount it to a blank, and then put it on the wall. This was one section I had that problem with, and we'll show you how we resolved that. And another section we had a problem with was I wanted a magnet by my bench, and I resolved that issue as well by basically custom making both these pieces. So we'll go through that in a little bit to show you what we did. And had I thought of this sooner, I might have been able to mount my battery tender for the cars on one of those so I could move it anywhere in the garage. Instead, I ended up putting 4 small holes in the cabinet and used some black screws that were in the spare parts bin to mount it on the cabinet. Barely noticeable, hardly extends into the cabinet. So it was an acceptable solution, but it might have been nice being able to move it around. Then after this went through, I decided to add some leftover track sections over by the doors and neaten that up so the wife could have some of her gardening tools there. I have another battery tender over there since we moved from another house. I had one in each section, so that now can charge cars that are outside that might be left there for a bit. So there too, it might have been nice being able to hang it from the wall, where over there I still can, but I'll probably leave it the way it is. And a slightly different angle for this wall. That's sort of tucked in there. Got a lot of crap off the floor and made life neater and easier and less chance of scratching the cars. So next section we'll show you how we made those two blanks for the magnet holder and the golf ball holder, and frankly it could be done for just about anything else you want to add to the system. Turned out it was very simple. The key to the modification would be the cabinets and the way they are mounted. And you'll see in a moment there are 3 strips that mount on the back of the cabinet, and they go into the rails and they support the cabinet via the studs. These are the brackets that hold the cabinets on the wall. They mount the same way the hooks do, and it looked like they gave me enough free flat surface to be able to do what I wanted with the items I wanted. Since I don't have a lot of fancy shop equipment, I used an ultrasonic cutter to cut the bracket down to size. I then used a bench lathe to smooth off any rough areas. That seemed to work very nicely, and I was satisfied with the results. Since a fair bit of the strip was going to be exposed because the magnet is not all that wide, I decided to spray paint it in with black Plastidip to make it look a little nicer. Obviously, your decision what you want to do with this. And the finished magnetic strip, it can now be moved anywhere in the garage with ease, and for the moment it is hanging next to and above my tool cabinet. So that should make accessing tools a little easier as I need them. The golf ball holder, as you can see here in the picture, in reality was done pretty much the same way, just some minor differences with the way things were screwed down. For the golf ball holder, I used the other section of the same bracket that I had cut down, and the only problem with this was it was smaller, and you see the indentation in there. It was going to cause a problem. So here I mounted the piece with self-tapping screws, as I did with the magnets, but I put the screws vertically instead of horizontally. No big deal in the way it worked out. And the finished golf ball holder ready to go on the wall. You can see the 2 vertically oriented screws rather than horizontally as I used on the other piece, and it's good to go. So it looks like you can be creative with a good number of things that you might want to position on the wall if you just take a moment to think it out.